Welcome everyone to Reuflection. I'm your host Reufury. We are back and we have our special guest, Coach Aarsh. Welcome.
Focus. Retrospection. And I forgot the third thing that Kuden said.
Yep, Kuden's words were focus, retrospection, and your mother.
Got him!
Alright, week 7. We went 0-2 this week. You know, time flies when you're on the bench. But other than that, first game against Order. Sadly, it was a defeat. We kind of like it was a bit too much scaling, and we didn't get the the W in the end. Then we look over the second game, and we will verse the overlords of LCO, the undefeated demons, Chiefs. So not too much to talk about over there. But you know, first off, Mr. Aarsh, you know, let's look over the Order game, right? And we look at the Order draft. We'll pop it up here. So on the Mammoth side, we've picked Seraphine, Graves, Corki, Rakan, and Na, right? And on the Order side, we have Callista, Wukong, Nautilus, LeBlanc, and Malphite. Now, going into this, you know, Mammoth draft, what do we think about on the Seraphine specifically?
The Seraphine specifically, I think she's probably one of the best bot laners on the patch. She's definitely up there with Seri. They kind of buffed a champion that was already very much chilling the patch prior, so she rocketed up to like 56% win rate that patch. Yeah, she was pick of van the whole week, as you saw.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone was looking at, and it was just Seraphine singing the whole way. But now look at the whole composition. What was the go? Like, what are we thinking about? Like, how does this composition, like, how do we get the W against Order here with this composition?
Yeah, so this composition really is kind of just hoping for a stable early game, which is never good, right? But the reality of this comp is that as soon as Graves and Corki hit their item breakpoints, it's so easy for us to just hold an area, poke them out, and if they try to come into us, we just win a sustained fight because no one's dying with the Seraphine and Rakan around.
So super scalers, and then we have, you know, the Na coming in with Mega, and it kind of opens up the whole team fight, right?
Yeah.
But you know, going into the Order game, what kind of like happened? Like, you know, it kind of just looked like a steady loss. Like, what do you think went wrong?
Yeah, it really did look like that. Hey, honestly, we had a bit of an emotional scuttle crab incident in the top side. bit of a staple for Mr. Mayfon, but that wasn't, you know, the game losing play. Honestly, that wasn't really a game losing play. It like you said, it was just a slow burn until a loss. And I think that was largely on how we drafted it, to be honest. I think if we had something as simple as just like a Sejuani, Ornn, or a Gragas even as our top laner, just so Graves is some sort of lockdown, we could start snowballing ourselves. Instead, like you saw, we didn't really get to start snowballing. Graves didn't get to his items, Corki didn't get to his items, no one bought Hexdrinker versus LeBlanc, and Kisei took over the game.
It's kind of rough indeed. We have the LeBlanc, and he's just, you know, no Amar, and he's just like free to roam wherever he wants, and not really any much punishment, especially as these scalar, you know, champions.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunate game against Order, right? KSA just took over, kind of just, you know, the game just nothing crazy, no like crazy int or play or team fight. It just like the game just went, you know, slowly to a loss, unfortunately.
Yeah, we had one fight where we could have maybe turned the tide of the game around, but by that point it really was just too late. Like, you saw Hoopo and the Callista lived on 1 HP.
Very unfortunate.
And then it was a bit doomed.
But you know, a game that you know, doesn't look so doomed, but it's always doomed in the statistics. A game against Chiefs. Now we pull up the draft against Chiefs, right? And let's look at the Chiefs first, right? We see the Wukong, Zeri, Rakan, Talia, and Aatrox. What do you think about their draft?
I think their draft really just wants to run at us. And they're really good at it. Simply put, like, they have good scaling bot lane in the Zeri Rakan. They have arguably best jungler on the patch in Wukong. I don't think that's arguable at all, actually, I just lied to you. And they have a really strong, solid mid laner in Talia who can just shove and roam if she has a bad matchup. So their goal really is just let bot lane scale into the game while they play hard off top lane, deny our Kayle, you know, her win condition of getting to level 16, and match us with their own Kayle, if that does happen, in the Zeri.
But now looking at like the Mammoth side of the pick, we have the Kalista, Renata, Kayle, Udyr, and a Zed. Now, what are we thinking with this composition?
We're thinking you wish you were playing the Zed, Mr. Benchrider. No,
Emotional damage.
Bit of a swing.
in all seriousness, we took the Kalista Renata. We know it's one of the best bot lanes on the patch, especially into Zeri, and especially when Zeri doesn't have a Yuumi with her. What that means for us is, you know, we are going to have an early lead in bot side. We even took Udyr into Wukong, which is another great matchup for us. So we're pretty much just guaranteeing, you know, that we're going to get these early Drakes. Now the Zed is it's an excellent pick into Talia. What can I say?
Can definitely agree.
Yeah, like Talia has a really hard time laning. And like I said before, in most matchups where if Talia has a bad matchup, she can just, you know, shove the wave and roam, but Zed doesn't really give her that space. And so she needs to have her friends around to help her. And if she has her friends around to help her, like if Aladoric comes to help her, then we just we just ruin Razor's day.
Yeah, definitely can following up on specifically about that matchup, you know, as a bit of a Zed connoisseur myself, and seeing this, you know, blind pick Talia, it kind of looks like Tally's just like, yo, we're gonna just drop on, you know, one of the classic blind mid laners that can push and roam. But I mean, like you said, this set is like very like unique kind of champion to where he actually gets the push over to Talia in the early game, and he also threatens. You can threaten that layer at like level 4 and level 6 always.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, like, as you said, he has to get friends. He needs the jungle. He needs support to hover him because he just dies. And as we saw, for First Blood, Mikra actually just killed him, right? And we did have the... Yeah, exactly, just straight in there. And we had, even though the jungle was just straight up behind him, you can just go up and you can just kill the Talia. Like, it's really bad matchup for Talia. Completely, like, unique counter. I don't think they were seeing it. Bad thing is for the Zed matchup is obviously if the support and jungle come, you can't just kill, you know, everyone in your side. That's just not how it works. He doesn't have enough damage, durability change, you know, more of an assassin 1v1 type. But like you said, bringing in the homies in the mid lane means there's no one protecting the superstar Raze, right? No one's gonna protect him, and maybe we can get Voice absolutely, you know, running him down on Kalista in the bot lane. But you know, that's what we want to happen. What do you think actually? What went wrong, Mr. Aarsh?
What went wrong? Well, we still played. In terms of the early game, we still played our bot side really well. We got what was the objective of having this bot side. So you know, we got the first 2 dragons, secured them. Yes, my bot and mid went down a bit of CS because of some poor trades and bad base timings. But Zed was still forcing Talia out of lane as he should. Zeri still had to play pretty scared for most of the laning phase. And yeah, like I said, we secured the first 2 Drakes. But things started going wrong when we decided to take a couple random fights after those Drakes. And Chiefs kind of just snowballed the game on us.
You know, Chiefs do what they always done, right? They make sure that there is no room for you to just absolutely get away with, you know, some plays that aren't like the most legal, right?
Yeah,
they know how to
when
push.
they get a lead,
Yeah,
they don't let you breathe.
100%. I mean, that's why they call them the undefeated Demon Kings, Chiefs, right? These guys, they'll not make like the most flashiest plays. They won't go 20-0, but they will definitely choke you out and make sure there is no real way in coming back. And look, they're undefeated. So hopefully someone can take down those guys, but we'll see until the end of the season. We've still got quite a bit left for the LCO. And that's the end of week 7 against Order and Chiefs. Unfortunately, we didn't get any W's here, but you know, still more weeks left in the LCO. Thank you to our special guest, Mr. Aarsh.
Thank you for having me, Rue.
Always a pleasure. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Hopefully you guys can support our boys on the LCO at twitch.tv/LCO. And another week goes past where we can, come back, sit back, and reflect on our week's games. And I'm your host, Reufury, as always. See you later.